All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Here for the Health of It podcast. I'm Dr. Randy here with Dr. Tom. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We see you guys giving us reviews and seeing us on Instagram. Just search Here for the Health of It podcast on Instagram, and we'll be right there. We have a great guest today. We have the owner and CEO of RockBox Fitness, Katie, and I honestly don't know how to say your last name.
Georgiades.
Georgiades.
Nice.
Okay. And what heritage is Georgiades?
My husband is Greek.
Greek.
So
Love that.
I had to practice when I inherited the name as well.
What was your maiden name?
McFarland.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just looking at pictures of your husband on Instagram before
Right.
this. He's got great teeth, great beard.
Shout out to Elia.
How did he what was his move to meet you?
Oh my gosh. We actually have a pretty meet cute story. I'll try not to take up the whole podcast with it, but we were both living in New York City. I was getting my master's degree at the time. It was graduation time, so we were letting loose a bit. Went to a dive bar, Upper East Side. There's a handsome bartender with nice teeth there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you went to a dive bar by yourself?
No, I went. No.
Okay.
For clarification, with a few friends that I worked in the computer lab with.
Okay.
Nice.
That was
that
was my apprenticeship that you get some kickbacks on your tuition, which was helpful.
Nice.
So yeah, we hit it off honestly across the bar, and at the end of the night, we did the slow release of the hands. Good night,
Really?
Clearly we're
like
connecting.
You pat his hand?
It was like a handshake type of deal.
You shook his hand at the end of the night and just said nice to meet
Thank
you,
you
and
for
then
your
held
drinks.
a little too long.
Like I said, we were letting loose. Yeah, it was like the linger, I think we're both into this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then nothing happened.
Did you exchange numbers, or how does that work?
No.
Okay.
And I was like, what is going on here?
Right.
I thought we were
This
doing
is a
this.
movie,
Yeah. So I left, and I, for some reason, out of character at the time, I went back, and the bar was closed, and I literally knocked on the door, you guys,
How old are you at this time?
27.
27. Okay.
27.
Nice. So
I think I was
what you
just
want.
done with the games. Yeah. I was I passed that phase.
Mhm.
I like this guy. So yeah, I went back. I said, do you want to have one more beer with me before the night is over? It was he was sweeping, been friends.
Yeah. Yep. With a towel in his back pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
You get the picture?
Yep.
So yeah, we hit it off, and then he called me a couple weeks later, maybe a week later or something, asked me out on our first official date, and we've been together ever since.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's great. So you're not from here then? Are you from the
Is that an
I
outtake?
shot out.
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
So not too far away.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, so tell the audience about RockBox. It's a boxing facility, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So it's boxing, kickboxing, functional strength training for fitness. So we hit bags, not people. We're not training people to spar or know how to fight. I mean, you're going to pick up some skills, obviously, but it's really a fitness solution. And we do 50-minute, super effective classes. We call it kind of like Fight Club in a nightclub. Yeah. So you've got the overhead lights, the music's, bumping, and you're in a group fitness setting. Full body workout, in and out 50 minutes. And then we do nutrition coaching and all sorts of things in addition to the fitness component. We kind of operate on a 3-pillar system. So fitness, nutrition, and accountability. We know in the fitness space and wellness space overall that accountability is something that a lot of people struggle with. We need that outside motivation, discipline, and someone to help us with that. So that's the 3rd pillar that is really helpful for our clients.
I know with the group fitness classes, my wife loves them because sometimes it's hard to go by yourself to the gym, but she knows if she paid for 10 classes, she's going to use all 10 classes that month, no matter what. It would kill her to waste a class, even if she's can barely move, can barely get out of bed. She's still going to go, no matter how sore she is, because she doesn't want to waste the class or lose the class or miss it or I don't know.
No, totally.
So I think that's a cool part of the group fitness world.
Well, there's a few layers of accountability there, right? Like the one you're talking about, which is financial accountability. I paid for this. I'm going to use it.
Yes.
then there's social accountability. So of course you build friendships, you build community when you start going to these boutique fitness studios. Community is one of the biggest things that we pride ourselves on. And so of course, you know, your friends, your crew is going to be like, hey, where are you? Right?
Yeah.
You said you were coming to the 5 a.m. Get your butt out of bed and get here.
Yeah.
So the social accountability. And then of course we call it expert accountability, which is where our coaches will also call you and say, hey, you haven't been in a week.
Yeah.
It's time to get back in here and get to work. So
Cool.
lots of layers of accountability too.
Yep. What's a good punch look like? Can you show us what a good punch looks like?
Yes.
In slow motion.
Like sitting, or can I?
You can get up.
Yeah, you can stand
Whatever
and
you
show
like.
a punch.
Okay. Well, this might be embarrassing. All right.
Just
So
don't break anything.
I know. Okay. So
And don't punch me.
fighting stance, if you're a righty, your right foot's going to be back.
Yep.
Because all of our power comes from the lower body.
Yeah.
All the power comes from the lower body, right? So that's why our dominant leg is back. Your jab is what we call our distance checker. Of course, you know this from movies, but we always want to be protecting our face. So your hands are always up here on your chin. A jab, you're going to come straight out with your arm. It's like your
Boom.
distance checker.
See
So
where they're at.
where are they?
Feel 'em
Where
up.
are they? That's
Yep.
right. And you're going to rotate your wrist so you're parallel to the floor, and then straight shot out. Now with your power cross, dominant hand, all power coming from lower body. This is our setup. Now we're ready to go, right? I'm already loaded up. You cross, pivot with the back foot like you're squashing a bug,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then same mechanics with the arm. You're going to come across.
Yeah.
Bang.
Just like that.
Love
And you
that.
knock them out.
Nobody's ever taught me how to punch, I don't think, ever in my life.
I just started in early January. I just started an actual jujitsu kickboxing
Oh,
class,
cool.
but I like sparring.
Yeah.
So I've been having my first like people coming at me, swinging at me. But yeah, it was the same thing. I never really had like a technique coach to show me how to punch.
Well, that was one of the things my husband talked about a lot because he's a man, and for whatever reason, we're trying to let go of these, you know, legacy stereotypes or the shoulda wouldas, right? But he felt like as a man, I should know how to throw a good
Right,
punch,
right.
and so I think that's intimidating for people.
What do you think about that? Do you think that's true?
I think everyone should know how to throw a good punch.
Yeah.
It's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd get my ass kicked. I feel like I need to learn more about fighting. But I don't want to like
What
do
are
it
you
with
afraid of?
people.
What's happening?
I don't know. I don't
Let's unpack that.
Yeah,
There's something deep there. No, I think I just want to be able to know that I could walk in the room and kick some ass. But I don't feel that
Absolutely.
way. Yeah, I don't feel it. I feel like, you know what I mean? I'd be like,
You might have a little
Squirm.
more pep in your step,
right.
if you had
Little-
that underlying confidence,
little
right?
More confies, yeah.
Yeah, confies. That's what a lot of women and men alike come in and they're like, okay, I need a fitness solution.
Yeah.
And then they leave with that and more because
Sure.
now you're right. I know we're joking, but it's serious. Like you feel empowered.
Yeah.
You do feel a little bit of that underlying confidence. And I think it really can translate into other areas of your life.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, so what got you guys into boxing? Like why that as your fitness avenue?
Yeah, we honestly started as members up in Charlotte where RockBox is
Oh,
a
cool.
franchise. So we started as members of one of the first locations, fell in love with the product of the fitness solution. And then I think just we're at a time in our lives we were ready to do something more entrepreneurial and take some risks. So we signed up to be franchise owners. And then at the time the territories were sold out in Charlotte. And we were like, okay, we can run it from Charlotte. That's what we were led to believe. We were just super naive and green, to
Yeah.
be very honest. And then at about 6 months in, we realized, no, we need to be where the
Hands-on.
studio
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So we relocated down to this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big misconception with people when they're buying a business, that the business just runs itself. But that's so rare. I don't know anybody who just walks into a business and it runs itself. Maybe by the time they have 2, 3, 4, they kind of have it figured out and the right people in place. But to just buy a franchise and think that other people are going to run it for you, I've never seen that work well.
It is definitely something that has proliferated, I think, especially in recent history in the boutique fitness space, because the opportunity, there is such a wide opportunity in the wellness, fitness, space. Like we see these growing markets, it's exploding, right? So when you look on paper, it's like there is opportunity to be had. And then I actually own the business with my husband. And then I went back to work full time in May because we did get to a place where it did need both of us full time in the business. And so now I have the luxury to be able to work with other fitness studios around the country, helping them to grow, expand, and scale their businesses as part of another company. But to your point, you're right. Like so many people hear the messages around, we're just going to buy this franchise and we're going to have freedom and we're going to have money. And it's really, really tough work.
Right.
And I think so many are just not set up for success from the beginning.
Yeah. What was the process like of just, if somebody is interested in looking at a franchise or buying a franchise, what did you guys, like, what were the steps?
Well, I would say that we are probably not a case to follow just because it was a brand new franchise. We didn't know much of anything. And we literally were meeting at coffee shops with the franchisor. Like we signed our agreement at our dining room table.
Really?
So I would say we are not a traditional case just because it was, I think we were maybe the third franchisee. It was so new.
Yeah.
So for us, I look back at that time, I call it like the wild, wild west. Like it was just, we're just getting stuff done, any way we can. But there are franchise brokers out there. So a lot of the clients that I work with now will say, yeah, I just worked with a franchise broker. They presented many different franchises and we picked this one for, these reasons. They aligned with what we wanted. The financials look good, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But for us, it was a passion project more so because we loved the experience that we had and wanted to help others change their lives.
Cool. Do you know Layla Hormozy?
Yeah.
And Alex Hormozy?
Oh, yeah.
What's your thoughts on them? Because they're I think they own acquisition.com. They basically do what it sounds like you're doing, where they help other gyms scale and get bigger. Just what's your thoughts on them?
I mean, incredible, minds. I think that they have kind of brought a lot of the messaging and concepts to the forefront, right? Where even if you're not in the fitness space now, you've likely heard of Layla or Alex. And I think that's pretty cool because they're putting a lot of these concepts and places on the map. I think that their approach to like their marriage and their lives is so fascinating. I was actually listening to him talk on how he chose her as a partner. And like on the first date, he was like, hey, do you want to work for me?
Right.
It's like prospecting and all of the things. So I think it works for them and it's very, very fascinating, but it exists because the gym space is really, really tough, especially when we don't have tools at the ready to know how to market. A lot of people are trainers. They're like, I'm a good trainer. I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Those are two completely different skill sets.
Yeah.
And so without all of those things available to you, it's tough to make it. You have to, find it, learn it, or find someone else who does to help you.
When you're doing the online coaching now as a part of this other company, what do you look at when you're working with a new gym, let's say? Like, what are your metrics or what are your questions? Like, how do you help them?
Oh my gosh. We kind of take a 4-pillar approach back to this pillars.
You guys love pillars.
Love that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm adhering to this pillar concept. But we look at sales and marketing. So like, what does that sales funnel look like? What does their processes around lead generation look like? We look at finances. So a lot of people, come in and they've never looked at a profit and loss statement. So how do we help them become more, build their acumen around financials? So sales and marketing, financial strategy. A lot of times, especially in the fitness space, it moves quickly. And it's like, we have a lean team. Right. We need to do stuff tomorrow. But how do we help people pull up to that 10,000 foot level, take a more macro level view and plan ahead so that they reduce the stress and anxiety of being an entrepreneur a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And be able to execute with confidence. So those are some of the things. And then, of course, we help them track the major KPIs.
Sweet.
Revenue.
So you're more on, and so mostly on the business side of it then. You're not going in and kind of working with the trainers and showing them class type stuff.
No, it's definitely
Business.
the
Yeah.
business side of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
When you look at the sales and marketing, is there a percentage that you think people should be spending? I've always heard at the stabilization level, it's this percentage. When you want to grow, you have to bump up to this percent.
Yeah. Percentage of spending less so, just because the variety of revenues that we see varies quite a bit, as well as profit margins. So you could have two studios making $50,000 a month. One is barely break even and the other's profiting 20 grand a month. So
Right.
the abilities to spend will look very, very different. However, we do talk about having several lines in the water, if you will. So we're not just doing paid digital leads. We're also doing events. We're also doing collabs with other businesses. We're also asking for referrals. So it's about maximizing your reach through different tentacles. And then also, what metrics do I know and look at to be able to make educated decisions on what to spend? So maybe not a percentage so much that we look at, but is our cost of acquisition low enough compared to our lifetime value of the customer? If so, then why wouldn't we pour fuel on that fire, especially if we have capital to do so?
What kind of software do you guys use to measure all that? I find that that's always been, even in our space, because now that we have 3 clinics, we're just kind of looking at redoing some of our statistics and metrics and things that we're looking at. But it's hard for us to identify lead generation or how we're capturing that, or even our sales process and marketing process. It's kind of like we just do stuff and then see what happens at the end of the month and track that.
Yeah.
Or people hear about it from different angles, and it's hard to
Track the
pinpoint
source.
which one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can dig into that offline. I have no idea at y'all's space, what software is available. There are definitely a few that are niche in the fitness world. It's one of the main topics of conversation, just for me as an owner, as well as for all of these owners out there. It seems like there is a suite of options and all of them solve one problem or two problems really well.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, we've pieced together 5 softwares. Now my team is just very confused and we don't really know anything. So it sounds like it's similar in y'all's space, but I would say for numbers, I mean, the one that I know and use it's called iKismet. And it was the franchise made the decision to bring it on, but I would say it's been the most powerful dashboard that I've seen to show you all of your metrics. And then to also say there's no shame in the game if you're manually tracking stuff. It doesn't seem like it should be in 2024, but it's surprising how many studios are still just manually tracking. How'd you hear about us?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's why I was wondering if a lot of boutique shops that are out there, I was wondering what all, I would imagine they're just using Excel sheets and things. And
some are, but I mean, there are a lot of CRMs, right, that we leverage in the space. So we, Club Ready, Mind Body, Walla, there's like 10 different ones that I could talk about, but
is there
it's
a
challenge.
Is there a lot of data input from the owner or is it more? It is. Yeah.
I would say twofold. So to your point about having tracking the source, let's say, how'd you hear about us? Whatever you can do on the front end to get ahead of that. So if you know that you have a specific campaign, is there a link that then we can track that they clicked it? Or is there a QR code that's a specific one to an event that you're running so that you know they're from an event or from a paid digital? Obviously, there should be some sort of funnel that you know. But when you put that lead in your system, let's say, making sure you're tracking lead source and that your team or whoever's responsible for that is doing that consistently.
Yeah, nice. And then what kind of membership? So just to jump back to RockBox real quick, what kind of memberships do you guys do? And is it a certain amount of classes like he was mentioning, or is it a certain amount of time?
We have a couple of options for memberships. The majority of our clients are on the unlimited membership just because from a financial perspective, that makes the most sense. We see that because we offer boxing, kickboxing, and functional strength training with a variety of days, right? So you could do lower body speed or upper body power or lower full body strength. So we have all of those on our calendar. So you're really getting everything you need. So most of our members, it's pretty much their fitness solution that they're using. They may supplement with some other things. So they're on unlimited membership. Come as much as you want. We love it. We want you to use it. And then we have a standing 8 count. So you have 8 classes a month. That's kind of the lower tier. Those are really the only 2 membership options we offer. And then, of course, we have class packs. So if you do have something else, if you love Pilates, but you want to box 1 day a week, you could buy a class pack and come hang out with us and hit the bags.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a combo that's ideal? It sounds like you guys are pretty varied in what you have. But I found that for myself, sometimes I found I needed a gym to go lift heavy weights. And then I needed a gym that would do more stretching. And then I needed a cardio gym, like all these different things that I wanted to do. I felt like I needed 4 or 5 different gyms to do it.
Exactly. I think that's a trend these days that I'm seeing, because even myself as a consumer, I want to lift heavy, but I also want to do yoga for my mobility.
Right.
I love kickboxing. I want to try new things. So I agree with you. What was your question though?
Well, I like, what does it look like to incorporate more of that stuff? And is that a trend that you're going that direction in?
Well, I would say like the cool thing about kickboxing and boxing is that is kicking your tail in terms of cardiovascular exercise, but you're also, because of the muscles you're using, lower body, and then your arms, of course, and everything, like your core, you're building lean muscle, which is how we burn fat in our bodies. So it's one of the most effective workouts and it's fun. Like, you guys, we were talking about not knowing how to throw a punch, but if you've had a stressful day, there's nothing more satisfying than exercising, but then layering on the ability to like punch the heck out of something. It feels great. Yeah.
What do people wear when they show up? Has anybody ever shown up in like boxing trunks and boots?
I have.
Shirtless
and trunks.
So I'll tell you, majority of people just normal exercise clothes. But we had a trainer that worked for us for over 2 years who was an amateur fighter. So he was training to be a fighter, and he would always wear those Muay Thai shorts. So then I ordered a pair. No, I think like a few of us from the studio ordered a pair on Amazon, and like the link went viral. So then we all just started wearing these Muay Thai shorts just to like mess with him.
We need to find that picture.
Yeah. But then, we have randos, honestly, that will show up in like working boots.
Really?
I'm like, we can't wear that here.
Out, yeah.
Which, for better or worse, can't wear those. But, it's they probably just don't know any better.
Anybody go barefoot?
People try, but for safety
that.
Reasons,
I'm
like, I can't have you in here barefoot. Our bags are heavy. They're like 400 pounds. So if you kick that bag the wrong way with an open toe, your toe is going to... Might not be.
What about tank tops?
I mean,
big tank
tons of tank tops for guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You do you. You know.
What about turquoise tank tops though? Oh, there's a nice.
That's one of our trainers.
Oh, he has a good tank top on.
Speaking of tank tops, Chris will definitely rock a tank top. Wow. So he's probably walking through boxing basics.
So the bags are attached to the ground too?
Just in tires. So when you kick them, those tires will move. And then we have teardrop bags too. So it'll show you, see to the right. Yep. Oh, there he goes. Thank you, Chris.
Nice.
So you rotate between the bags, essentially working both bags. They call the combo. So you were asking about combos.
Yeah.
He'll call jab, cross, slip, slip, hook, hook, right? And you're doing that on the tie bag.
Yeah.
60 seconds, go all out. And then you move to the tier bag, front kick, jab, cross, hook, hook. Go 60 seconds. So you're going back, forth.
Do you have one of those? What's the like? Is it a
bags?
Speed bag? Do you guys have that?
We don't.
No, I feel like who would? What do you do with that? I mean, besides just hit it as fast as you can.
Get one at your house. It's like a party trick. If you're not training to be a fighter, it's not scalable for a group fitness class, and
I just
it's hand-eye coordination mostly. So we don't have one, but.
So what differentiates you guys from, say, Title Boxing or any of the other franchises that are out there?
Great question. I would say, I'm not super familiar with every other boxing or fit boxing or kickboxing, fit boxing, kickboxing concept. But those 3 pillars I mentioned, fitness, nutrition, and accountability is one. Yep. The functional strength training is the other big piece of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Because you are getting to lift, and we will do some heavy days on that side, where you really get like everything you need from that piece of it as well. I mean, from what I know about like Rumble, like their trainer stands on a box in the middle and can't leave. So we're really
Interesting.
focused on making sure your form is right. It's hands-on. You're going to get corrected, right?
Yep.
A, to prevent injury, and B, we also just want you to build skill while getting your fitness on. So we follow something called the 222. So 2 name calls. So I want you to know that I know your name,
Yep.
right? Randy, there you are. Great form. I see you. I'm going to do 2 form corrections for you in class. Now you might say,
no matter what,
well, I need
even if-
one.
What if it's
Everyone.
perfect? What if I'm perfect?
Everyone.
Yeah,
If I'm absolutely perfect,
still got to go over and like.
then I
"Yeah,
get 4
bring your
compliments.
Then-
Good
Your shoulder,
tank
yeah.
top today.
Yeah. Tank top's looking great. Guns out. I'm going to need you then to level up,
Yes.
right? Let's lift a bit
Go
heavier,
harder.
Randy.
Yeah.
You can do more than this.
That's good.
So
I
we'll
like that.
challenge you in that way too, so that you're always progressing.
Yes. I feel like you need that. Some trainers, they kind of just let you go
Mm.
and they're not, you need to have somebody who's on you to push you a little bit.
That's a great point. And I would say that there are some people who do not like that.
They hide from it. Yeah.
And so you learn your members, right?
Right.
Like, there's always that person that beelines towards the bag, like way in
Yeah.
the back,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
and they might fight you over that bag. Like, this
Right.
is my bag.
Mhm.
But you learn your members, and our trainers are all certified, and we have very tenured trainers. They've all been with us for a long time. We have some new ones that we're adding to the team, which is always fantastic too. But they know how to push, and they know where to,
Yeah.
to not.
What's the ratio men to women there? Is it more men than women? Is this like a good spot for women to pick up dudes, or is it the other way around?
Well, I wouldn't have put it that way, but I don't know how thriving the dating scene is in suburban Lexington, but it's about 70% women. So I guess
Really?
yes is the answer to your question.
Okay. Nice.
Or
Great.
yeah, 70-30.
Well, we got friends on both sides here that are looking for, and it's like, I was thinking, I don't know where single guys 30 to 50 years old, like I was like golf courses is where I would go.
If you were
I
a
was
woman.
if I'm a woman.
Oh,
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, and yes.
Yeah, if you're looking for a male, I was like, I just don't know what we do. We go to work, we go home, we golf.
Yep.
But-
You
and then-
go to a dive
and
bar.
then all
in
of our
New
friends
York
are
City,
married.
I guess
Yeah.
that seems to work pretty well.
You go hunting for handsome bartenders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I don't know either. I missed.
Yeah, I mean, I
the
feel
whole-
like boxing and jujitsu, martial arts, maybe that's where some of these guys are hanging out.
Maybe. Yeah, but actually I actually negated your point because we're mostly female.
Right.
So-
Right. Yeah.
Well, the gyms where you actually hit someone though are heavy male, I think.
True. Yeah. So an actual where they have like a
Right.
ring and you spar, potentially there might be some dudes there.
Yep.
That'd just be
If you're
like
looking
you're
for
like
love.
a delicate female. Like
Right.
I'm just looking for a
I-
date. But
I
you
know
just-
the guy, and like some of the guys that I've been kicking and rolling against are 250 pounds.
And they don't. I mean, and
Okay.
in this though, they split you up by gender where you're at.
Yeah, there is
Okay.
like a women's jiu-jitsu and a men's one, but it's
What-
co-ed. Actually, it's women and co-ed,
So
but
you
no females come to the
co-ed.
co-ed.
I was gonna say, what's the split that you're seeing in the jujitsu world?
It's so my wife started doing it a few weeks ago, but there's only 3 or 4 women that go to the women's jiu-jitsu class, and then the guys one there's 8, 10. It
Okay.
depends on the day, but way more guys than
Like
than
90%
females.
men, right?
I probably yeah.
Gotta be high.
And she's having a tough time, like kind of to your point too. She's having a tough time getting other people to come actually like roll around with people and
Right.
arm bar and choke each other out. Like I
So-
think they're more driven toward let me just be in my own little space and hit this bag.
Maybe that's like a level 10. So what made, I'm curious, your wife, were you selling her on it? Like what made her decide to?
No, our kids started doing it.
Okay.
My wife's friend was taking her kids there, and they were learning all these life skills that you really can't find anywhere else. So at the end of the kids' jiu-jitsu, you would have to shake hands and you would have to make eye contact. And he teaches how to stand up to a bully or how to
Mhm.
stand up to somebody else.
Yep.
Or how to introduce your friend who's shy, or how to walk up to someone who's shy and introduce yourself and introduce them to someone else. So then my wife was like, all right, let's send our kids there. So they started going 3 days a week and then loved it. And then the other mothers who were sitting there were like, oh yeah, we're going. So then they convinced her to go. And then by the time all the women in my family were doing it, I was like, I gotta man up and go.
I'm gonna jump on this ship. Yeah, and I think that's such a cool point. We do in the summertime, we do something called Champ Camp,
Okay.
which is for kids, you know, through boxing and kickboxing and fun games and things like that. Like they're able to learn all of those
That's
life
cool.
skills.
That is nice.
And also, you know, it takes a lot of discipline, which
right.
patience and waiting and all of those skills are so obviously challenging for kids. So it's cool to see how they develop through the programming.
What's interesting, just thinking about that, there's not any like kid fitness group classes. Like unless you're a kid and you want to be an athlete, you can plug them into like performance type stuff. But just the average, like I just want my kid to be healthy and working out. There's not much they can do, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's a
We
really
need
big
that.
gap. We do.
Why don't we?
Let's
make
should
that.
we do that?
Should we start that today?
Well, my husband and I are doing this, our own internal challenge, just he and I to start the new year, right? Jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
New year, new us. Have you guys heard of 75 Hard?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Andy Frisella.
Yeah. So it's been on my bucket list, but listen, I do not appreciate excuses. This is simply an explanation. With both of us, him like full-time now at RockBox. I'm full-time in my job. We have a 4-year-old.
Right.
The hours in the day for us both to do a 75 hard just like did not feel feasible. So anyway, we've created our own, still like workshopping the name, but Nifty 50 or like Fitty 50.
Nice.
Right?
Okay.
50-50?
Yeah.
Well, oh, fit at like fit.
Yeah.
But
Not
you
at
got
50, like 50 days. Sorry. So that's the 50.
Fit 50.
Well, you're gonna need
Yeah.
pillars.
50.
You got to come up with some pillars
Good
for it.
point.
Got the pillars. Okay, all this to
That's
bring us
cool.
back to the kids.
yeah.
This was connection. There was a connection, I promise. So we've designed this so we're not drinking alcohol. We're working out every single day for 50 days. There's some other no sugar, like right. So we're doing these healthy choices.
Nice.
And my daughter was like, why are you doing this? She's 4. She's like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? And I explained it to her and she was like, I want to do it too.
Right.
Because your kids will do what you do
Exactly.
and not what you say.
Yes.
So to your point, I think there is a gap out there and it's there's this concept of generational health as opposed to generational wealth.
Right.
Or maybe not as opposed, maybe we can do both.
Yeah,
but
Sure.
I just think that's a really powerful thing. And I agree with you. We need to do more of it.
Yeah, because you hear about generational curses too.
Right.
Nice to flip that around and make it generational fitness.
Exactly.
So 75 hard, for people that don't know, you would have to do 2 workouts a day,
One outside.
one outside
for
and
45 minutes.
For 45 minutes, and then you have to read a certain amount. There's a few
gallon
other
of water.
Gallon of water. You have to read 10 pages
Yeah.
every night. And then you just stick to a nutrition, which is kind of, we're doing all the same things, just
Not the second outside
one workout
Yeah,
for
which is-
45 minutes.
Tom always talks about wanting to do the 75 soft.
Right.
I got a whole concept.
It's gonna. It's the. He says sometimes you have to do the opposite. Instead of going 75 hard, you have to do 75 soft,
Right.
where you give your body a break.
Yeah, that's a good Reggie.
It's actually a real thing out there, though.
Is it?
Yeah. If you Google it. So whatever the soft component is,
God.
like people say the soft is you can drink at social events or special occasions.
Oh.
So they give themselves a pass if they have a wedding or this or that. Slippery slope,
it's not
though,
like
you know?
Very slippery
It's
slope.
not like watch 2 hours of TV on the couch.
Yeah.
You
It's
have
like,
minimum TV.
like 10
Your phone tells
pages.
you haven't been on here for 4 hours.
Go
yet
sit
today.
at a computer.
Oh, see? Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh, you still have
Oh,
to
there
read.
is a 75 soft.
You still have to
challenge.
read.
Okay, so yeah, they
So-
just soften it up a little bit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can drink. You don't have to work out as much.
Gotcha.
You only have to drink 3 liters of water per day.
Yeah, and mine's like you can smoke cigarettes and make sure you're getting an adequate alcohol. Try to move as little as possible. So you mentioned, so your husband was a bartender before,
Yes.
and then you guys, did he stay a bartender early on in your marriage?
relationship.
Relationship. That's the word.
He was probably going to law school, putting himself through law school,
Not law school, grad school, of education. So
want to be a teacher.
he was a teacher
Okay, nice.
in the pre-fitness world. So in our relationship, and then when we were married, and then honestly just got burnt out on the education space and was looking for something new. And that's kind of when we were at this crossroads, if you will. And this opportunity came up to open a franchise. I was in the corporate world.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. What was your background?
I'm one of those people that doesn't know what they want to be when they grow up.
Yep.
So I have an undergrad in finance. My master's was in international affairs and economic development. I've lived abroad. I did the Peace Corps. And then I kind of,
Wow.
Yeah. And then I went into, and then I worked for Bank of America. So literally did like a 180 and went working for the man, if you will. So went straight into corporate world, where I was doing leadership development work. So, designing and helping to coordinate programs for like top talent across the country. So more in like that learning and professional development space. And then was doing that pretty much up until the time that we decided to pull the trigger and open a franchise.
So what were you wearing in the dive bar? Were you in like a nice little corporate suit or?
No, I was in grad school also. So I was getting my master's at the time.
Gotcha. Okay.
So my husband, hopefully, I think he can. He could probably tell you exactly what I was wearing, but
something skimpy.
I mean, I don't know. No comment.
So let me ask you this then.
I was 27.
With your husband, if everybody goes through different phases where they're lower body fat percentage, higher body fat percentage. So when he has his 6-pack time, when it's day 49 of fitty.
Still workshopping the name.
Do you notice that? Do you think women notice that and wives notice that or not really?
100% we notice it. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I don't even, because I don't think my wife ever notices.
When you're fit?
Think, I mean, I'm some, and I'll like fluctuate. But I don't know if she ever notices.
I guarantee you she notices.
You think she notices? She says she does.
She says she does?
Yeah. Well, she says she does, but you can't trust words.
Can't trust her.
I can't that she might put you in a chokehold.
I don't. Well, she is getting good at jujitsu now. I got to be careful.
That's what I mean.
And my kids too. They can take me down. Like I have to do real jujitsu moves to take down my 9-year-old.
You have neighbors walking by and they're looking in the windows like, are they okay?
What's happening in there?
No, I think we notice.
Yeah, I think it's good because I think a lot of guys don't necessarily. Or I don't know. I don't know if males maybe aren't in the fitness space as much, or if they just don't think about it, or if their wives aren't saying anything, or what do you think happens there? What's your husband's what's your conversation with your husband when he starts putting on 12 to 15 pounds?
So here's the thing. This is what I was going to say. I think it's better to vocalize when things are going well. Definitely a positive reinforcement space.
Yep.
Because that's going to ignite more good than if you are like, hey, babe, like, look at these love handles, like getting something to grab at.
I agree.
Yeah, because I don't feel like that's the boost you're looking for.
For sure.
I mean, maybe I'm speaking you in general.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
same thing from a woman's perspective. Like, we would definitely appreciate a more complimentary, right? Like, hey, babe, you've been looking good. Like,
but women can spin that around. Like if you say like, "Oh, your legs look great," they're like, "What? Do they not look great before?" Good point. Okay.
This is just where open communication with your partner is really critical.
Right.
Would you like me to say anything, or should I just plead the fifth over here at all times? Right.
And you really want to be honest, because if you're not on it, like some guys I know just say, "Oh, it looks beautiful," no matter what they're wearing. But then their opinion becomes absolutely useless because they're just going to say, you look great no matter what.
Right.
What you want probably is someone who would say like, no, that one adds 10 pounds.
Take that off.
Take that off immediately.
You look gross.
Let's return that.
Did you look in the mirror? You look terrible.
Again, here clear expectations.
Maybe not quite that aggressive, but maybe, I don't know.
This is clear expectations solves all of this. And I think it probably a lot of couples, I don't know, who knows if I know what I'm talking about here. We're well out of my realm of expertise, but I would venture to say they actually don't specify with their partner what feedback they actually want.
Right.
Yep.
Like, tell me if I look like, can I curse on here or no?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, tell me if I look like shit. It's like, so if you have spinach in your teeth,
Right. You got to tell them. Boogers in the nose.
Who would-
Smell
so
bad.
same thing. I don't want to wear an outfit where
Yeah.
if you are visually perceiving me in a way that's not flattering, like I want to know that. And yeah,
For sure.
maybe you say on a scale of 1 to 10, like what's your preferred directness and
Right.
my commentary.
Yeah.
Now, I want to touch on your nutrition pillar at the gym. What do you like? What do you guys incorporate in that? And like, how do you manage that with your members?
Yeah. So it's really based off of a whole food diet.
Yeah.
So we stress above all else is eating real food, kind of the shopping the perimeter of the grocery store mentality. And then we keep it simple because people can be very deterred, especially if they're new to this, with counting calories or understanding macronutrients and the percentages and how are we tracking all that. Like all of that gets very, very difficult unless you're super focused on it. So we try to keep it very simple in that way, which is we want you to eat protein, healthy fat, and carbs at every meal.
Yep.
So it's about the combination of those macronutrients.
Yep.
And then if you're following the kind of portion size that we lay out, your macros are going to fall in line from a percentage standpoint. But we don't put that on our members. We don't want you to worry about that. Like we just want you to eat lean, protein, healthy fat, and then quality carbs.
Yeah.
So it's essentially that. I mean, it gets more detailed, but
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so straightforward. I mean, it just makes so much sense just to start eating real food.
right. And in the combination.
Yeah.
And so we have a whole sheet, a grocery shopping list,
Yep.
an eating out guide, tons of tangible resources for our members to help them kickstart this healthy lifestyle journey. And then even members that have been with us for longer, than a year, they've done this nutrition programming before. And if we're doing a challenge or something like a sprint, we're like, okay, we're going to really focus on this. We might add in intermittent fasting as an element to that same nutritional plan, so we can always change it. And then if you're doing individual coaching, then a trainer would work with you one-on-one to really hone in and go a little bit deeper if that's something that
That's
you're
good, yeah.
interested in.
And you're extremely fit too. So that's one thing that I appreciate about you is that you're doing what you're teaching as well, which I don't always see in the fitness space.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you do that's higher level that you're finding you have to do now that you didn't have to do? Like for myself, when I was in my early 20s, I could eat and do whatever I wanted. And then I would just do a few push-ups and it was like, oh, I'm putting on muscle.
Yeah.
And now it's not that easy.
Short answer is not quite yet, but the biggest challenge for me this year was going from being in my studio all day, every day
Yep.
to now having a desk job.
Right.
And I'm really seeing the impacts of that. Like I'm feeling aches and pains that I didn't feel. I've, like you said, fluctuated. Like my body fat has gone up this year. I've gained probably 10 pounds. I was probably like maybe too lean, if I'm being honest. So I'm still feel great about, I have confidence. I feel great, but I'm noticing those changes for sure. So it's like, all right, I need to make sure I'm doing all the things. So actually it's delivered today. I'm so excited. Like one of those walking pads that you put under your desk.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll let you guys know if I actually use it.
Yeah.
Right. That's always
One of
the
our staff wanted one of those.
adoption is the key there, but just to get moving. And so, yeah. And I'm nearing the age at which you would think these things would start changing. So I'm scared, but I know that I've been, conscious and healthy. It's not a fad for us anymore. It's a lifestyle, which is when that flip switches, I feel like is the key.
Right.
So if you eat a piece of cake or you do this, it's like that's an exception to the rule. And we've been eating real foods. I kind of started my own fitness journey back in 2014. So it's been about a decade. So now it just all feels normal.
Mhm.
But, the guardrails are still there just to make sure that we're being healthy and providing that example, right, that we talked about, like for our daughter.
Were you ever like very overweight in your life?
No.
No, always kind of.
Never very overweight. I've always been athletic, I would say, but I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so like I literally would go to Bojangles like every day in high school.
Right.
I mean, so unhealthy.
Did you work at any fast food joints?
Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
first job.
Nice.
And then I worked
Really?
at Outback Steakhouse. So I'd eat like that bread every night with the honey
Yes,
butter.
I worked at Outback.
You
I did
did?
McDonald's
Yeah.
first. Yikes. And then Outback.
We'll forget you said that.
I was a prep cook. But yeah, they had great food.
Do you know Chick-fil-A has the best dashboard for metrics I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. They can say
I got
by
so
the
excited by
hour-
that.
I know. It's
You got to meet Aaron.
Metrics
Yeah.
dashboard.
they can see by the hour. Like I can call them and I'll be talking to them and say like, how's it going? It'll be like, oh, well, compared like this hour, we've done this compared to last hour and compared to 2 hours ago. But I know my morning shift from 5 to 6 this morning compared to 30 days and a year
Wow.
ago is up 9% or down 11%.
And
Like,
comparing like other stores in the country.
Yes,
at
and
the
then
same-
all the other ones.
simultaneously.
It's almost like info overload, though. I
a
feel like
lot.
what great analytics, but how you're using
do you do
it.
with it?
Yeah.
well, it's nice to see, like if you had all the RockBox ones in front of you and your members weren't showing up for the last 2 weeks and you'd be able to see, oh, every single place across the country
Struggling
is
with
down
this.
20%, or everybody's up 40% and I'm not. I better get on the phone and find out what they're doing.
So
And I'm not.
valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was pregnancy being in the fitness world? And like even just like delivering the baby, the whole nine.
Oh man. Well, is that where the whole 9 comes from?
Oh,
Whoa.
the whole 9 months.
I was thinking the whole 9 pounds.
Could be either.
Yeah. So, okay, sorry, I got sidetracked by that.
That's good.
It was
Oh.
tough. So I was
we
actually
found out during the Second World War, gunners were armed with ammunition belt, which was 27 feet long, to use the whole belt on the enemy to go the whole 9 yards.
Oh wow.
But I feel like we're gonna use that for
Yeah.
We got to rebrand.
I
that.
don't
That's
like
outdated.
that as much.
No.
Reject. So I was coming out of corporate life and we got pregnant. We actually had to do some fertility treatments to get pregnant. So we went through that whole journey for 3 years. It's tough.
Right.
Do it, worth it, very tough, right? But I finally got pregnant pretty much at about the same time that we were deciding to, of course, take this pivot in our lives.
Yeah.
So we were due open in January, and due open, I'm talking about the business. January of 2019, baby was due in May of 2019.
Holy
and I'm like,
cow.
okay, cool. Like we'll be open for 5 months. Then I'll have
Yeah.
the baby. We'll get a
Mhm.
little bit established. Of course,
Delay on the opening.
a delay on the opening. So we opened April 24th, 2019, and I had Lennox, my daughter, on April 27th.
Wow.
So I had her 3 days after we opened the doors to our studio. And mind you, we still lived in Charlotte.
Jeez.
So Elia was driving, doing 13, 14, 15, 16-hour days, driving back and forth. I was by myself at home with a newborn. It was, I look back and like, it was a very, very rough time, mentally, emotionally,
Yeah.
physically,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but we got through it.
You have family in Charlotte then? Mom?
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
my mom now lives in Winston-Salem. She moved out there a while back, but my sister's there. And then my whole kind of growing up, I have, friends from high school that are still there. So definitely more of a
Right.
network of stepbrothers, stepsisters that live around the area. But yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of Columbia coming from Charlotte? And be honest, because this is a Columbia-based show. We
I
just
know.
because I'm from Pennsylvania. He's from Canada.
Okay. Canadians are always cool.
He's not
Thank
though.
you. I know, and I'm glad I fit the mold.
Well, I didn't.
Not yet.
We're still deciding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Most
No, I think that you
Most
sounded
Canadians.
pretty convinced that I'm cool.
It's growing on me. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Coming down, like we relocated against our will. And so I think that there was a lot of legacy
Kind of, yeah.
stuff to
Mhm.
work through with that. I
Yes.
loved Charlotte. I had moved away and I lived outside of Charlotte for a decade. Never thought I'd end back up there, but I did by choice. And so then I fell in love with the city. We owned a home there, friends and family. We lived there for 7 years. And, we're like, we're good here. And then all of a sudden we uprooted our life, moved down here in let me get my years straight. In 2019, December of 2019. So then COVID hit 3 months later.
Jeez.
So we were renting an apartment. We still owned our house. We were renting an apartment in Lexington. So my first introduction to this whole area was like
It's hard.
not ideal.
Right.
Then we rented a house in Lexington for 2 years just to be close to the business. So it was like we were living in limbo due to having new family members,
Right.
having built our family, having this business, and then the pandemic. It was just like everything in our lives changed in a blink of an eye, and we didn't know which way was up, down, sideways.
Yeah.
So all that to say, we decided to stay here, for the time being, and we did move over to the Columbia side.
Forest Acres area, which is nice.
Yeah,
Gotta like Forest Acres.
yeah, I love it.
Vine Street, all that.
I love all that. I just need. I'm a person that I need to be near stuff.
Me too.
So we like I said, it's growing on us, and of course, we're making friends and finding our footing here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you just tell everybody like where you're at, how they get a hold of you, what that looks like if they want to try a class?
Yeah. So we are in Lexington. Instagram is probably Facebook, Instagram, our socials is probably the easiest way to find us. Instagram is RockBox_Lexington. You can DM us or anything like that. We'd be happy to reach out to you. You can call the studio. If you Google it, we come up. And then, me personally, I don't have like a personal brand, let's say Instagram or anything, but it's just my first and last name. So Katie Georgiades is my Instagram handle.
And people can
yeah.
come try it out, or what does it look like if they want to try a class and see if it's for them?
Yeah. So first class is free if you want to come try it. And then it's pretty cool because we'll take you through boxing basics before class. So you know all the punches and kicks that you need to know. And then we'll get you in class. And of course, the trainers are to help you every step of the way.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you guys going to come out for a class?
Yeah. We'll
We
bring
gotta-
our team.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be fun. We have done things like that too, where people will bring their whole team or staff for
Yeah.
team building. We can do a lot of partner exercises and make it really fun that way too. So
Nice.
that's something that we offer.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks
All
for
right.
being
Well,
on.
Thanks for being on.
Thank
Appreciate
you guys
it.
so much. Thanks for
fun.
having me.
Here
We're here for the health of it.
for the health of it.